Hey, so we're here today testing out the Jeep Gladiator Sandrunner. It comes with Fox shocks, roof rack, and there was a cage on the back, but we took it off so that we can go more hardcore in the dunes. The tires are beadlocked, so we were able to drop the pressure down to 12 psi and we can run even lower. And the point of today is just to see how agile this car is on the sand, and so far driving around here feels like it can get over anything. But for now, we're going to try and get over those dunes. Gladiator was reintroduced in 2020 as a capable off-road pickup that did everything that a Jeep Wrangler could do, but you have the space in the back to haul all your toys. This edition is the Sandrunner edition. The main upgraded things on the Sandrunner are the suspension, the stiffening of the chassis, and also the stiffening of the springs. When you go off-road, you really feel like you haven't been compromised by lifting the car. You just feel like you have a much firmer ride, and the suspension seems to be able to take anything. The Sandrunner comes with auxiliary switches, off-road mode and diff lock all at the bottom. It's in front of the gear shifter, and your auxiliary switches can be plugged into whatever lights you want, but this one came with pod lights and the front LED bar. It can also be plugged into other things. You have some outlets at the back where you can plug it into stuff for your cage or your camping gear or your trailer. Off-road mode is the setting that I pushed to go off-road with the car. As soon as I put it in four-wheel drive, pushed off-road, pushed traction control, and then just drove the car. If I felt like I needed more control, I would shift into manual mode, and then I could go up and down the gears. The car protects itself very well. It won't let you shift when you're not supposed to. All the electronics seem to do what you want when it wants to, but if you try to do something that would damage the car, it doesn't let you do it. So driving this car, you really have to know the car, and after a while you'll know where you can shift and where you can't shift, and that is kind of the bond you have to make with the car. If you've driven other four-wheel drives or other brands of cars, it might shift in conditions that you know. If you get in this car, it's not going to do the same. So learning how to drive this car has been quite fun, because I myself has never owned a Jeep, so I really am enjoying the Jeep experience. The car is very long. I got stuck a few times today because I just wasn't prepared for cresting over things. And maybe I haven't had enough time in the car that I would make those mistakes. But because this Wrangler comes with all of the accessories, we had shovels in the back, we had ramps, so we dug under the chassis for about 30 minutes, and then the car drove out by itself. Another cool feature on this model is it has the onboard air compressor. So you plug in the tires, deflate it to whatever you want, sit in the nice cold AC, wait for it to stop, and then swap it over to the other tires. It even has the option to upgrade to 4 hoses that go to each tire, so you can sit and wait for all 4 tires to deflate or inflate while you're sat in the nice cold AC. We've been driving around all day, and I do my best to keep the fuel economy low on every car that I drive, just to see how efficient it is. So far on this car, without the cage on the back, we've got it down to an average of 12 liters per 100 kilometers just driving on the highway at normal speeds, not maxing out the speed limit, driving at about 120 or 100. That makes it, for me, super efficient with the size of tires that it has. We drove all the way from Al-Faga, all the way to around the solar farms that are out in Al-Qudra, and then we drove all the way back around and made our way back to Al Ain Road and came home. So when we got out of the desert, it was around 45 degrees, and the real feel here, because of the humidity, makes that over 50 degrees. I have to say, this is the coldest AC I've ever sat in. I have never pushed it over fan speed 2 the whole time I've been in it. Even when it was roasting hot, I jumped in the car, put it on fan speed 3, and then after like 5 minutes I was already too cold. It is incredible how cold the car is. And then all I had to do was plug in the air compressor, sit in the car, drink water, and then drive away. This was one of the simplest cars for me to collect my Bluetooth on. I pushed media, and then I pushed on the Bluetooth button, and it connected in, I'd say, under a minute as soon as I had sat in the car. The cool thing about the car is when you push off-road mode, it turns off the traction control for you, and then when you come off the sand onto the road again and you put it back in 2-wheel drive high, it then turns the traction control on again. So you don't actually have to think that much when you drive. All the time from when I first started driving off-road, you had to be able to push the traction control button and do everything by yourself, but this, you can literally put it in drive, 4-wheel drive, off-road mode, and off you go. Don't really have to do anything else. That concludes the day of driving the Gladiator Sandrunner. Apparently the next vehicle we have has 470 horsepower and was raced against a German engineered vehicle that is the fastest production SUV on the world, and it somehow beat it in first gear. So that will be cool, and that will be our next video. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, give it a like and follow us for our next adventure.
Bringing the peace and buff on that part.